Hey, Jim, the pep band on the far side holding it up. We got a couple of guests here. I guess we call them the basketball duo of Princeton. I've been in this area about 11 years. I think I've been to about 237 Princeton basketball games. I've seen these guys at about 235. I've been to probably 100 Bluefield State Concord games. These guys have been to more than that. And let's see if we can get them to identify themselves. And first, what's your name?
John Choate.
And John, how you feeling tonight?
I feel fine.
How'd you feel over at Beaver the other night?
That was a great game. I'm glad we won.
I noticed that you guys waited in the hall, so we went out together.
It's a little rough outside, but everything come out okay.
Hey, John, whereabouts in Princeton do you live?
I live at the Village Green Trailer Park.
And who's out there listening to you? Anybody?
My wife Mary, my son David, and Joseph.
And they all pay attention to you when you talk?
Most of the time.
Sometimes. Okay. You know, I got a couple of dogs at home, and I tell everybody they mind about as well as the kids, and that's all you can expect.
That's right.
Hey, John, you're from North Fork High School, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
How do you stand to live here in Preston and watch North Fork play the basketball they do? Of course, you see a lot of North Fork ball games, I see.
I see most of their home games. It's going to be rough next Tuesday night as far as which team to root for, but
well, that's
a great game.
Wait till one gets a big lead and then jump in.
Right.
Where about your work, John?
I work at Hydraulics Incorporated.
And they keep you busy down there?
Yeah, most of the time. Pretty good shop to work at.
How do you think the Tigers look this year?
I think they look pretty good. They're young this year. Probably the youngest AAA team in the state.
Possibly the best game of the year was against Oak Hill the other night, and then again they come back against Beaver with an extremely good game. But
yes, they played a great second half against Beaver.
Maybe starting to grow up.
Yes.
Maybe getting ready. And we'll move over and get your sidekick over here and see if we can get him to identify himself.
It's Bobby Choate.
Bobby, whereabouts in Princeton you live?
I live on 4th Street, Princeton.
And anybody out there listening to you tonight?
It's my wife, Gloria, and son, Jason, and Teresa standing here beside of me. Our daughter.
Well, that Teresa, I guess, comes along to the ball games to help you find your way home?
Well, sometimes she's starting a little cheerleading lessons here, so she wanted to come and see if she can get a few pointers tonight.
Well, see, I know my wife doesn't allow me out after dark unless I got a chaperone, so she sends my daughter with me a lot of times, to leave me in.
Well, sometimes it helps to have somebody to get you home.
But, Bobby, you've watched a lot of basketball in the area. You've seen a lot of basketball players come and go. And here at Princeton, of course, last year we have, I think, 3-4 of them playing college ball right now, and Williams, Walker, Edwards, and McKay,
right,
all playing college ball. And then from a couple of years back, the Gillard boys and so forth, some of the ball players that come to mind, stick out to you watched here at Princeton, maybe some play for the other teams. I know like Russell Todd, so forth up in North Fork.
Yes.
Maybe you can name a couple of the guys that you've been impressed with even this year.
Well, even this year, Jimmy Miller, he has improved a whole lot in his sophomore year here at Princeton. And, well, for Beckley here, this little Ronnie kid impressed me a whole lot.
I think Jimmy will play college ball. I'm not sure about Ronnie. Ronnie, if he was another 6 inches taller, certainly would. But the youngster's only 5'5", and the basketball looks like a beach ball.
That's true, it does.
So I don't know how much chance he'll have to play after he gets out of high school.
He'll be getting into a different league ball there, so he may not do too well.
Who's the best team in the area this year?
That's a toss-up, really. You have Princeton and North Fork, of course, is pretty well equal. Bluefield is capable of playing good ball. They're smaller than the other two teams, but like I say, it's a toss-up, I think.
North Fork beat Mountain View the other night with 2 points in overtime. Was that
right.
Mountain View?
No, that was at North Fork.
It's going to be very tough to beat Mountain View at Mountain View. Now, they've got a lot of size, and if they get any type of officiating that the crowd can work on and let those guys push and shove around, it's going to be very hard to handle them up there.
Right, they are. They're a big physical team.
And they got one guy in there big enough to eat hay.
That's true.
John, as you watch the college games, of course, WVU is struggling a little bit right now, but, of course, Virginia Tech possibly has got a fair shot at getting some postseason tournament bids. Any of the other teams around the area impress you in college ball?
Well, I watch a lot of ACC games on television, and Duke is struggling right now. They've got a couple of men injured, but I think they'll come through and win the tournament down there. Of course, Maryland looks awful good also.
Of course, Maryland lost at Notre Dame today by 1 point, but at Notre Dame, Matt George was about 15 points with the crowd.
That's true.
And, of course, Carolina lost his freshman, Worthy, for the season. That's going to hurt them badly.
Yes, it will.
And, of course, we'd like to see Duke do well, so Alan Williams down there playing, and we'd like to see Alan end up the most valuable player in the ACC tournament this year.
Well, he's coming on. He's starting to get more game time. He's playing a lot of ball this year.
Who's the best college team in the nation?
Well, right now, it's hard to say. There's a lot of teams equal. I guess Kentucky, I think, right now.
You don't think that DePaul is, even though they're not number one?
I don't think they are.
Bobby, who do you think is the best team in the nation?
I like DePaul, really.
Of course, when you get to be number one, it's hard to blow anybody out because everybody's gunning for you.
That's right. Everybody's gunning for you. They don't have anything to lose, and you're up top. So it's tough to stay number one.
Is WVU going to have a winning season?
I don't think so.
You know, South Carolina understands looking at Gail Catlett. They'd like to bring him down there for a coach.
Well, Gail Catlett's a good recruiter, I think, but he's got a lot to show on his recruiting. Of course, he's got 2 new boys already signed. It's supposed to be pretty good ball players, but he's going to have to get some help up there. He's losing a lot out of those boys this year.
Yeah, if he's going to recruit, how come he didn't go get Samson? Or Bowie? Anybody got any ideas on that?
He tried to get Bowie, but Kentucky's got too much strength.
Well, Kentucky's got too much to go there. And really, if a ball player had the potential to be an All-American ball player, he's better off in Kentucky than what he did.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to get national exposure, press, TV, whatever goes with it. And Kentucky just attracts that kind of attention.
That's true.
So appreciate you and Bobby stopping by to visit with us. We've seen you at a lot of ball games. We thought maybe it's about time that we recognize. I know that every time I need something done, you're always willing to help. We appreciate that and enjoy seeing you at the ball games.
So we enjoyed it at the games.
Enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
And thanks for talking with us.
Sure.
We'll be back with more right after this. All right, and we've got Bob Graham and Ann Metter sitting alongside. We're ready to bid them welcome as we're just about a minute and a half away from basketball here at the Princeton Gymnasium. And Bob, welcome aboard.
Well, thanks, Glenn. I'm glad to see, well, I know I'm like you. I've seen Bobby at just about every ball game that I've been to at Princeton.
I'm gonna do
And I've been to an awful lot of Princeton ball games, and they're here, and I think it speaks well of them that both of them are from North Fork originally and come to all of Princeton's ball games.
And Ann, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Glenn. Are you over that game the other night, Glenn?
Physically or feeling-wise?
Both. Have your emotions calmed down and has the tension in your back released itself, and are you ready to sit through probably another barn burner?
Oh, yeah. Of course, you know, I don't really ever get excited. I just kind of act that way to keep everybody involved. Yeah.
Now, he's not going to convince me of that after last Wednesday night.
And I guess we should mention your mother and dad's listening in, and so you got to be careful what you say now.
Right.
You're not far enough away from home to get away with a whole lot.
That's right. She could be over here by the time this game is over if she really needed to.
Yeah. And does your mother keep a thimble on her middle finger to thump your nose off the ear when you get out of line?
No, my mother's kind of short. She'd have trouble getting to my ear. She just goes for whatever she can hit first.
Oh,
Of
okay.
course, me being the kind, considered person I am, she doesn't have to do that very often.
All right. Hey, we'll be back with basketball. First, let's take time in for this message. As they're ready to introduce the starting lineups here tonight, and Bob, you got, you're already getting a lineup. We'll get Ann to pass on some JV scoring from tonight's earlier game.
Okay, the Beckley Flying Eagle JV team defeated Princeton 68-59. It was a very close game right down to the wire. In fact, the score was 55 all going into the last 4 minutes of play. Scoring for Princeton, Jim Posey had 14 points, David Livingston 14, and Jeff Adams had 12 for the Flying Eagles. John Berry had 16, Vernon Knight 15, and John Price 10. As this is a very young varsity team that Princeton is fielding, it is also a very young junior varsity team. All of them are sophomores, but experience-wise, they're young, and I would say under the new coach, Bruce Sanford, they'll show us a lot of good basketball as the year comes along.
I think it will. I think it speaks well for the future of basketball here at Princeton.
Sure. You can see a whole lot of potential on this team. Most of them are sophomores, a couple of juniors that didn't see much playing time last year, and they'll come along.
The Tigers came back under a lot of fire Wednesday night, didn't they?
They sure did.
Trailing by 8 at halftime, came back under a very adverse condition.
Right, they
a lot of
showed a
poise.
tremendous amount of poise.
The officials tonight, Sam Banyan and Gary Sawyer from over at Lewisburg, and we're about ready for basketball. As the Tigers trying to put their record up at 6-3 on the season. They're 5-3 right now. The Eagles will have Ronnie Kidd, Dennis Goodson, Bob Boland, Steve Jones, and I missed one, Jerry Edmonds. For the Eagles, Flying Eagles, the Tigers come out with Jimmy Miller, James DeWitt, Bill Harmon, Mike Eads, and Jeff St. Clair. As we're ready for basketball, the officials are out there, the Tigers are out there, the Flying Eagles are out there. As Miller will be jumping against Steve Jones. As Jones moved in and backed out, and now we're waiting for Jones and Miller to come in. Miller moved into the center circle. Now we're waiting on Jones to come in as he is positioning some of the Flying Eagle teammates. Now he moves in. The official comes in, and the toss in the air. Tip control by the Tigers as the Witt controls. As James spins around, holds the ball, gets it to Jeff St. Clair. St. Clair will start the offense. As Jeff goes to the point position, to the right side, to the Witt, goes to the corner, looks at the bucket, does not go, goes to Miller on the baseline, puts it up on the iron, no good. Miller trying to tip. We got a whistle on the foul, jump ball underneath. As we'll have Miller jumping against Steve Jones.
Glenn, one thing I might mention is that this starting lineup for Beckley, only two of the people who started in the first game against Princeton are starting tonight.
That's Jeff Boggs.
Jeff Boggs and Goodson are the only two starters from that first game.
All right, that's Boggs in to jump against Miller rather than Jones. I'm sorry. As Boggs and Miller will jump in the Tiger free throw circle. No score to ball game. And the tip. Controlled by the Tigers as St. Clair fights it out. Gets it to Eads and back to St. Clair. Now the Tigers will start the offense. They go to the Witt on the wing position right side, and we got a traveling goal against the Tigers. Turns it over. As Bob Bowen will inbound it for the Eagles. He gets it into Ronnie Kidd, the 5'5" Mike that leads the Eagles. And Kidd comes down to the right side with it to Goodson. They go into the post to Jones. There's a knock loose picked up by Harmon. Tigers take the turnover. And now Princeton will come to the offense. Still no score in the ball game. As St. Clair to the point, to the Witt on the right side. Looks underneath, gives it back outside. They go to the near side to Harmon. Looks underneath, goes toward the baseline, drops it to Miller. It's knocked loose by the Flying Eagles. Picking it up is Boggs of the Beckley team. Out to Kidd. Kidd into the front court with it to Boland. Underneath with it to Boggs. Puts it up, no good. Rebound, slapped around once. Fought for, goes to the floor, picked up by Beckley. As Goodson has it, fires, no good. Rebound off the iron to St. Clair. And St. Clair now puts it on the floor with the left-hand dribble, moves it to the right hand, and the Tigers go to the offense. To the left side, to the Witt on the wing. They go to Eads in the lane, and he is fouled from behind. And I think it'll be called on Boggs, maybe. It is, on Jeff Boggs. His first foul, team foul number 1 on the Eagles. 6:55 left to play in the first quarter. There is no score in the ball game, as both teams very tight, very slow getting started. As the Witt will inbound it for the Tigers, down from the left side to St. Clair. St. Clair moves it across the point to Eads on the wing right side. Drops it to Miller on the baseline. Fires on the glass, got it, and a foul. As the official called the foul, I believe he'll probably get Goodson for it. And it is on Dennis Goodson. And that bucket was good by Miller. And that's foul number 1 on Goodson, team foul number 2 on the Eagles, and Jimmy Miller can make a three-point play as the Tigers on top now 2-0 on the first bucket of the game. As Miller ready to fire his free throw. He'll put it up with the right hand. He fires. It's good. 3-0. Tigers up now. As the Tigers pressing is Kidd with the ball in the backcourt, and we've got a foul call on Harmon. Boy, that's a slow whistle. There's no doubt the foul occurred, but he didn't want to call until after he was already on the floor. That's number 1 on Bill. Team foul number 1 on the Tigers.
Number 33 of the Tigers.
So now Kidd brings it to the front court for Beckley. To the right side to Bowen. Bowen back to Kidd, top of the key. They go into Goodson there. Traveling, no call on. Puts the shot up good. As Jeff Ball puts it for the Flying Eagles. And the Eagles will press. As St. Clair gets it to Eads. Eads in the front court with it. Fired. Good. Mike Eads puts the Tigers up 5-2. As Ronnie Kidd will bring it back to the front court for Beckley. To the point position, to the left side to Goodson. Goodson looks underneath, comes to the near side to Bowen. Back to Kidd, top of the key, firing from 20 feet, good. Ronnie Kidd. We got a 5-4 ball game, and the Eagles will press again. St. Clair with the ball for the Tigers. Moves it to the front court, starts it toward the left side to the Witt baseline left, firing from 18 feet off the iron, no good. Rebound to Harmon, knocked loose. Picked up. Harmon still got it. Into the lane now. He'll fire from 15 feet. Good. Bill Harmon puts the Tigers out 7-4. As Ronnie Kidd brings it to the front court to Bowen right side. Bowen looks at the bucket. He'll fire from 18 feet off the front of the iron. No good. Jimmy Miller in heavy traffic comes up with a rebound. Out to Mike Eads as Mike brings it to the front court. Starts it toward the lane. Holds it up. Gives it to St. Clair. Firing from the top of the key. Good. St. Clair puts the Tigers up 9-4. As Kidd will bring it to the front court for Beckley now. To the left side to Goodson. Starts to the corner. Goes in the air. Gives it to Bowen in the lane. Back outside to Kidd and to Bowen again right side. As they're looking underneath. As they move it to Jones on the baseline. As the ball slaps loose, Jones recovers. As Jones gives it way out front to Kidd, and they go to the far side to Goodson. Goodson goes to the corner. Firing from 20 feet off the iron to Witt. Rebounds for the Tigers. As St. Clair moves it to the front court for Preston. Still on the dribble with it. Toward the right side to Eads on the wing position. Mike starts it toward the corner. Gives it back out front to St. Clair. Jeff comes across the top of the key to the left side to Bill Harmon. They go to Eads in the lane. Firing from 14 feet on the iron. No good. Rebound put up by DeWitt. Got it. James DeWitt. Tipping it back up and in.
Might be interesting to note, Glenn, the Tigers have scored 5 field goals, one by each of their 5 starters.
Good balance. As we get Tom Moore into the ball game for Beckley, number 41. As Ronnie Kidd will inbound in the backcourt now. And gives it to Bowen. Bowen gives it back to Kidd and Ronnie. Brings it to the front court. To the right side to Bowen. As they're into a Tigers in a zone defense, a 2-3 to zone. As giving it to Ball, firing out of the lane, no good. Rebound fought for. Into the lane, picked up by Beckley. It's on the floor, scramble for it. It'll be St. Clair and Ball to jump it. As Miller had the ball almost in control, got it knocked loose at the last instant. As the tip controlled by Beckley, as he finally comes up with Kidd comes up with it, gives it to Bowen. Bowen on the wing left side to Boggs, firing out the lane, good. Jeff Boggs, 11-6, Tigers up by 5. As Jeff St. Clair brings it to the front court against the Beckley press. Leaves it for Miller, goes to the baseline, fires. Jim Miller on a spinning shot over the baseline. A dandy, 13-6, Tigers up as Ronnie Kidd to the offense for Beckley. To Bowen, right side. As Bowen will fire from 17 feet. Got it. As Bob Bowen hits it as St. Clair breaks the Beckley press. He is fouled by Kidd as he came across the time stripe. And on Ronnie Kidd, that's foul number 1. Team foul number 3 on the Flying Eagles. It'll be Tiger ball on the side. As they'll play it on the far side. As Eads will inbound it over. 3:52 to play in the first quarter. Princeton 13, Beckley 8. As St. Clair gives it to Eads. Eads on the wing position right side, looking underneath. We got DeWitt on the high post, Harmon on the low post, Miller on the wing left side. As the ball comes to Miller, way out on the wing. Now back to St. Clair. Goes to DeWitt, stolen by Beckley. As they go down with it. And as Steve Jones stealing the ball, takes it down, lays it up and in, good. 13-10, Tigers up now. As Eads brings it to the front court for Princeton. Gives it to St. Clair. 2-3 zone by Beckley right now. DeWitt drops it to Harmon on the baseline. Fires, so good. Rebound put up by Miller, good. He is fouled. And that foul should be on Ball. Let's see if that's who they call it on. It is on Jeff Boggs, and that's 2 on Jeff. Team foul number 3 on the Flying Eagles, but Miller will shoot 1 shot. As team foul number 4. Team foul number 4 on Beckley. Miller will be on the free throw line to shoot 1. 15-10, Tigers up by 5 with Jimmy on the line. 3:19 to play in the first quarter. As Miller ready to fire. He put up the right hand. It's on the way and good. 16-10. As the Tigers will press now. Ronnie Kidd with the ball in the backcourt. Moves it across the time stripe as he beats the press. Gives it to Ball. Ball goes to the baseline. Gives it back outside the Kidd. To Bowen firing from 17 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound. Pull down underneath. We got a foul on Harmon. That's number 2 on Bill. And team foul number 2 on the Tigers. It'll be out of bounds to the Eagles on the baseline. As Jeff Boggs and Bill Harmon going for the rebound. Harmon called for the foul. Boggs will inbound it for the Eagles. He gets it into Bowen. Bowen to Jones, firing out of the lane on the iron, no good. Rebounded to Witt, and it's knocked loose, picked up by Beckley. As Jones comes out with it, goes into the lane, puts it up and in. Steve Jones brings the Eagles within 4, 16-12 now. As he brings it to the front court for the Tigers. Throws it to DeWitt and past him and out of bounds. The Tigers commits a turnover. As he trying to catch DeWitt, breaking to the corner, led him too much. 16-12, Tigers up this Kid. Gives it to Jones, firing from 18 feet. Rebound comes off to Harmon, loses it to Bowen of the Flying Eagles. Gets it outside to Jones, the Kid, top of the key with it. 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. As the shot put up by the Flying Eagles, no good. Rebound pulled out by DeWitt. And foul called on Eads as he let it out. As Eads, turning to go up floor, runs over Ronnie Kidd. That's number 1 on Eads. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers. As the inbound pass comes into Steve Jones. Stephen Murray comes into the ballgame for the Tigers. Kidd with the ball for Beckley. Goes to the lane. Eads knocks it loose. Picks it up. Kicks it out to St. Clair on the break. Yes. Goes down. Fakes. Puts it on the glass. No good. Rebound. Fought for. We got a foul on Stephen Murray. As he went over the back of Jeff Boggs. That's number 1 on Stephen. Team foul number 4 on the Tigers. And it'll be out to the Eagles in the backcourt. 16-12, Tigers up by 4 with 2:17 to play in the first quarter as Ronnie Kidd brings it to the front court for the Eagles. To Boland, right side. Looks at the bucket. Now he'll fire from 16 feet. Good. 16-14. With 2 minutes, 5 seconds to play in the first quarter, a 2-point ball game. As the up-court pass intercepted by Beckley. It's coming down with it to Steve Jones. Goes under, and he's called for the charge. The bucket is no good as he run over St. Clair. And on Jones, that's number 1. And that's team foul number 5. The ball was gone from his hands, so it'll be 1-1. So St. Clair will shoot. They're 1-1. 16-14. Tigers up by 2 with 1:58 to play in the first quarter. And on the charging call on Mike Keith over on the far side, what's the ruling on that? He didn't have room to turn to go up floor, did he? Or how much room did he have to have?
He doesn't have to have any room if he has the ball. He had the ball in his possession. He was turning as long as Ron Kidd's feet were set. He doesn't have to.
I thought he received the pass while he was in the air and then turned and hit.
Okay, if that's the case, he was supposed to have a full step as he came down. Or if he was in the air, he had to have room to land.
St. Clair hits both the free throws, so the Tigers up 18-14 as Beckley comes to the offense. Jones firing out of the corner. Check it. It is Ball. Firing out of the corner. Hits it for Beckley. 18-16 now.
Glenn, I'm sorry. I didn't see that situation. I was marking something down. I didn't even see him hit.
As Miller with the ball on the baseline, puts it up and in for the Tigers. Well, sometimes, man, I can give you a biased viewpoint, not very often, but it's good to happen. So Ronnie Kidd with the ball for Beckley. Now into the front court with it to Boland. His Kidd back to top of the key, firing. Puts it up, no good off the front of the iron and out of bounds. It'll be Tiger ball. 20-16, Tigers out before, 1:26 to play. As Jeff St. Clair will move it to the front court for Princeton. To James DeWitt, goes down the left side, starts it into the corner, holds it up, drops it to Miller on the baseline, spinning jump shot off the iron, no good. And Stephon Murray called for the foul. As Stephon going over the back, Jeff Boggs of Beckley, and that's number 2 on Stephon, team foul number 5 on the Tigers. So Beckley will start shooting now. High-scoring first quarter, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The first time Princeton and Beckley played was a high-scoring first quarter. As far as Princeton was concerned, Princeton led Beckley by 10 points or so in that first game. 21-11.
Score right now, 20-16. Tigers up, 1:15 to play in the first quarter. As Jeff Boggs on the free throw line for Beckley, shooting on 1-1. He fires, it's good. As Boggs has his right wrist and thumb heavily taped, like maybe he has a sprained thumb. So it's taped to hold the thumb from sweating.
He also has an ankle taped, I believe.
As he fires, tips up, no good, and out of Murray saves it into Miller as Miller fouled from behind by Tom Moore on Beckley. So just checked into the ballgame. Now we get Jerry Edmonds into the ballgame for Beckley, and Ronnie Kidd will get a chance to rest. That's number 1 on Moore. Team foul number 6 on Beckley. And Jimmy Miller will be on the line to shoot a 1-on-1. 1:11 to play in the first quarter, 20-17. Tigers enjoying a 3-point advantage. As Miller ready to fire. His first one is up and good. He'll have a second attempt now. 21-17. Tigers up by 4. We got 1:11 to play in the first quarter. Tigers out by 4 right now. As Miller fires, it's good. 22-17. As the Tigers pressing, as Edmonds with the ball in the back court, gets it to Jones. Jones gets in the front court to Boland. Boland moves it down the left side. He'll fire from 18 feet off the back iron. No good. Rebound fought for. Comes out by DeWitt of the Tigers. It's DeWitt. Turns away from traffic and leaves it for St. Clair. And Jeff comes to the front court with it for Princeton. Starts it toward the right side. Eads on the wing position right side. Goes to the corner to DeWitt on the high post. Trying to get it to Murray on the low post. That'll take it away. As Beckley comes out with it. Boland with the ball. Trying to get it back. It's not loose. Picked up by Goodson. He is called for, by Balls. He is called for traveling. And they turn the ball over. As Goodson checks into the ball game for Beckley. And the Tigers go to the offense now, leading by 5 with 40 seconds to play in the first quarter. And Beckley comes out to put a half-court zone press on. It appears that they will try to put some pressure on the ball. St. Clair with it still in the back court. Gets it to the front court to DeWitt. Goes down. We got a traveling call on DeWitt, and Ralph Falk can't believe it.
I believe he did travel on that.
I think he did too. That guy stood up and James changed his mind about whether to go around him or go into him, and he traveled. So Beckley comes to the offense now. As Edmonds brings it to the front court to Boland. Back to Edmonds up top of the key with it. To the far side to Goodson. To Boland on the near side. Directs traffic underneath. Gives it back outside to Edmonds. Back to Boland. 13 seconds. They're waiting for the last shot. to Goodson on the far side. It's Goodson. Gets it back outside to Edmonds. Fires from the top of the key off the iron. No good. Rebound. Slapped around. Tipped outside by Miller. Picked up by Edmonds. 2 seconds on the clock. The ball is firing out of the lane off the iron. No good. So at the end of the first quarter of play, the Princeton Tigers 22. The Beckley Flying Eagles 17.
The scoring in the first half, Jimmy Miller leads all scorers very easily with 12 points, 4 field goals, and 4 for 4 from the foul line. The Princeton lost the first game that they played against the Beckley Flying Eagles at Princeton during the holiday tournament by a score of 55-51. In that game, they led at the end of the first quarter 21-11. At halftime, 35-25. At the end of the third quarter, Princeton was leading 45-42. And then the score was tied at 51-all. Beckley finally won the game 55-51. The previous meeting of these two teams. So this is very similar first quarter to that other game. And do you have any?
Yes, sure do. Princeton is 8 for 13 as of right now in the game. Woodrow Wilson 8 for 19. So Princeton shooting with a little better percentage. However, Princeton has turned the ball over 8 times thus far in the game. That's a lot of turnovers for one quarter.
It sure is.
As compared to 3 by Woodrow.
All right, as Princeton controls the tip on the second quarter, stolen away by Beckley, though. They bring it down. Boggs with the ball. Gives it outside to Kidd. As Kidd comes to the top of the key. To Edmonds on the far side. Back to Kidd and to Boggs. Boggs looks underneath. Gives it underneath to Jones. Fires. Tips up once. No good. We got a whistle on a foul. That should be on Jones on somebody's back. He's on our batting. That's number 2 on Jones. And it'll be Miller or Stephon going to the free throw line.
I believe it'll be Jimmy Miller. We have four players who have 2 fouls on them. For Princeton, Bill Harmon and Stephon Murray, and for Beckley, Boggs and Jones both have 2 fouls.
Guess say one thing for Beckley. They come to play. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of really going after it out there around those boards. Miller ready to fire. First one's no good off the front of the iron. Rebound tipped out by DeWitt to Eads, and Eads gives it to St. Clair, and the Tigers will start the offense. A 1-3-1 zone by Beckley now. As DeWitt moves it to the left side. Gives it back to St. Clair on the point position. As Jeff goes across left to right. Gives it to Eads on the wing right side. Mike looks underneath. Can't get anything open. And gives it to Murray. Now to DeWitt. Goes to the baseline. Fires good. James DeWitt. Puts the Tigers up 24-17 now. As Ronnie Kidd races back to the front court with a foot Beckley. To Jerry Edmonds, right side. He'll fire from 20 feet off the flank. No good. Rebound goes to the floor. Picked up by the Tigers as Eads is controlling. It works. If it works, I get the free throw. So Beckley comes to the offense now. So Ronnie Kidd with the ball to Jerry Edmonds near side. Kidd takes a shot on the top of the key. Drops it inside to Jones. Firing good. Steve Jones hooking from the offside. Puts it in. 24-19. Tigers up by 5. As Jeff St. Clair brings it to the front court. To James DeWitt. Works it toward the corner. He'll fire from 14 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound pulled down by Goodson of the Eagles. Gets it to Ronnie Kidd. Into the front court with it to Jones. Starts to the baseline. Fires. Good. As Steve Jones puts the Eagles on the scoreboard at 24-21. Tigers favor. Now we got a whistle on a foul. And that foul is on Mike. Oh, check it. It is on Jerry Edmonds. Jerry Edmonds of Beckley against Mike Eads. As Eads brings the ball down on the dribble, he was fouled by Jerry Edmonds. And that will put Mike on the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1. 24-21. Tigers up. That's foul number 1 on Edmonds. 6:20 to play in the first half as Eads fires. It is good. He'll have a second attempt. 25-21. As Eads fires again. 26-21. Tigers up now. As they're pressing, and the Eagles throw the ball out of bounds in the backcourt. And it'll be Tiger ball. 6:18 to play in the first half. Mike Eads inbounds it to Jeff St. Clair. To James DeWitt on the wing right side. Comes across forward trying to get it to Murray. As Murray finally gets it after it's batted away. Gets it outside to St. Clair. To DeWitt. To Miller. Goes to the baseline. Fade away. Puts it up no good. And Miller covers Jeff Boggs. And he got his money's worth on that one for sure. That's number 1 on Jim. Team foul number 6 on the Tigers.
Number 40, Jimmy Miller, his first personal.
Does that say that Jimmy got his nickels worth?
You'd almost say that he took out a little frustration on that play.
Yeah, he got a quarter's worth, really, didn't he?
Yes, he got it. He did the job.
So Jeff Boggs now will be on the free throw line for Beckley firing a 1-on-1. He puts it up. It is in and out, and it goes back in. And Boggs will have a second attempt. 26-22, 4-point ball game. Tigers up. 6:04 to play in the first half. As Boggs fires, good. 26-23. We've got a 3-point ball game now. As Jeff St. Clair moves it to the front court under some backcourt pressure from Beckley. Gets it to Mike Eads. Goes to the top of the key. Fires from the top of the key. Off the iron, no good. Rebound to Murray in the lane. Trying to spin the shoot. He is fouled. That may be on Jones. No, it is not. It will be on Goodson, on Dennis Goodson. That's number 2 on Goodson. And into the ball game is Robert Green of Beckley.
Foul called on Eagle number 23, Dennis Goodson.
Beckley's used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different players already. 26-23, Tigers up. And we'll have Stephon Murray on the free throw line for the Tigers, shooting on 1-on-1, shooting 2 shots. He puts the first one up, it's good.
On the line for the Tigers.
Stephon has an odd free throw style, doesn't he?
His style of shooting isn't really that strange. It's his follow-through.
And Stephon fires the gun, it's good. Well, as long as it goes right,
It is a follow-through that looks strange.
28-23 now. Beckley breaks the press, comes down with it. Green with the ball, goes to the baseline, fires off the side of the glass, picked up by DeWitt. Leaves it to St. Clair. Jeff moves it to the front court, gives it back to DeWitt, brings it all the way down the left side, starts it toward the lane. He'll fire now off the iron. Miller's got the ball in the lane, stepped out of bounds with it. As Miller looking for the Jerome off of the rim, and the ball came down short and hit him on the hands, and he took another step and was out of bounds. 28-23 as Beckley comes back. Green with the ball right side, firing from outside. Got it. Robert Green, 28-25 with the Tigers up by 3 as St. Clair to the front court with it to Eads. Eads on the right wing. Back to St. Clair to Stephon Murray out on the left wing. As Stephon gives it back to St. Clair and to DeWitt on the far side. As they bring it all the way around the horn. As DeWitt looking underneath with it and gives it back outside to St. Clair. 5 minutes to play on the first half as Stephon Murray with the ball on the baseline. Fires. On the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Green up Beckley. Gets it out to Kidd as Rodney brings it to the front court. Starts it into the lane. He'll fire. Puts it up, no good. Rebound fought for. Knocked out by Miller. Controlled by Eads. As Eads will put it to the floor and bring it to the front court for Princeton. Holds it up, gives it to St. Clair. Drives it toward the lane. To DeWitt. DeWitt goes under. Lays it up good. James DeWitt on a smooth driving layup. 30-25. Tigers up. As Ronnie Kidd comes to the offense for Beckley now. To the left side to Edmonds. Back to Green on the near side. Kidd top of the key with it. To Edmonds on the far side again. Back to Kidd as they come back and forth around that Tiger 2-3 zone. As firing is Edmonds, no good. Rebound to Jimmy Miller. To St. Clair. Tigers control. They lead by 5. As St. Clair into the front court behind the back dribble. Has the ball knocked loose. Picks it up. Fires out of the lane. Off the iron. No good. Rebound pulled down by Green. And there's a double dribble. He almost got away with that double dribble for him.
He did. It was a very late whistle.
Bobby's official now. Need all the help you can get.
But you can tell me how we can give him any help.
Well,
We'd be
you
glad to help him.
double dribbles and stuff. Ann does. All of her games. You're what your coach? As the Tigers inbound it to Miller in heavy traffic in the lane. Has the ball taken away. Picked up by Edmonds of Beckley. As Jerry moves it to the front court to Ronnie Kidd on the baseline. Eads cuts him off. As the Tigers in a 1-3-1 zone defense. As Edmonds has the way out front. Tigers lead by 5 now. Green will fire over top of that zone. We got a whistle and a foul on St. Clair. That bucket is good. And on Jeff, that is foul number 1. And that will put Robert Green on the free throw line for his first time tonight.
Green, the foul on number 12. The Tigers Jeff St. Clair. His first.
3:51 to play in the first half. Tigers up 30-27. Huh? Something happened down the crowd to our left. We'll keep you posted if we find out. Robert Green on the free throw line. He'll fire one shot. He can get us a 2-point ball game. Up so good off the flange. We got a whistle and a foul. And that may be on Jeff Boggs of Beckley. It is. That's number 3 on Boggs. Is he and DeWitt mixing it up or he and Miller? He and DeWitt, I believe it is, isn't it? Yes, it is. James DeWitt will go to the line for the Tigers. As Boggs checks out, and Tom Moore checks back in for the Beckley Flying Eagles. We'll have James DeWitt on the free throw line for the Tigers. 30-27 now. Princeton up by 3. DeWitt will fire a 1-and-1. First one's up good. He'll have a second attempt. 31-27. Tigers up by 4.
On the line for the Tigers, James DeWitt.
As DeWitt will have one more attempt. He fires. It's good. 32-27 now. As the Tigers press, the up-court pass thrown away by Beckley. It'll be Tiger ball out of bounds. 32-27. Tigers have got a chance to pad that lead a little bit. As DeWitt will inbound it on the far side, the Tigers leading by 5. 3:47 to play in the first half. St. Clair with the ball. Dribbling with it in the front court for the Tigers. To Eads. Eads comes to the near side. Gives it back to St. Clair to DeWitt in the corner. Goes to the baseline. Fires. Good. 18 feet away, and he pounds it in. 34-27. As Edmonds moves it to the front court, gives it to Ronnie Kidd. Back to Edmonds. To Green on the near side. Drops it underneath. To Moore. Firing. Is knocked out of bounds. We got a foul call or is knocked out of bounds? Foul call.
Foul called on James DeWitt, his first.
It is on James DeWitt. You're right. It's his first foul. And that will put Steve Jones on the free throw line for Beckley.
In the first quarter, Princeton hit 6 of 6 from the foul line, and Beckley was 1 of 2 from the foul line. So Princeton enjoyed a real advantage at the foul line that first quarter.
As Jones fires, the first one is good. He'll have a second attempt. 34-28 with 3:21 to play in the first half. As Jones fires the second one. Good. 34-29 now. Tigers up by 5 as Jeff St. Clair moves it to the front court to James DeWitt. DeWitt moves it down the left side. Skips his way into the front court with it. Gives it back outside to St. Clair. Back to DeWitt. Trying to get it into Miller. Has the pass deflected. Put up by Eads on the far side. Back out to St. Clair to Eads. As Miller and Jones having some kind of shoving match on that high post position. Back to DeWitt. Now he gets it to Miller. Miller goes to the baseline. Fires. Got it. And they're fronting and backing Jimmy, and he still got it.
That's Jimmy's 14th point in the ball game.
36-29 now. Kidd brings it to the front court to Edmond. Back to Kidd, top of the key with it for Beckley. As Kidd controls to Robert Green on the near side. Fakes the shot, gives it back to Ronnie Kidd. Goes into the lane with it. Eads cuts him off. Drops it onto the baseline to Jones. Puts the shot up. We got a whistle and a foul on James DeWitt. And DeWitt turns around and says, couldn't be, but that's number 2 on James. Looked to me like
I don't think that's what he said, man.
Oh, what do you think he said? I thought he said, oh, Mr. Ref, that couldn't have been me. I was on the picnic. I think he got his money's worth.
You know, I think James DeWitt's playing with a little more enthusiasm out there tonight. You say he's playing a little more aggressive underneath?
Intensity is the word, Bob. Not enthusiasm. We always play enthusiasm.
Okay, intensity.
Okay. As Jones puts the first free throw up, it's not good. He'll have a second attempt. James DeWitt is the type of guy that looks cool at whatever he does. He doesn't look like he ever gets in a hurry. But he moves fast.
I have him in class. He never gets in a hurry.
Oh, okay. And as the free throw misses, somebody violates the lane.
No, I take that back. He's a good student.
Well, you can be a good student without getting in a hurry.
That's true.
As DeWitt moves it to the front court now, still skips his way into the front court. Now he'll fire from 17 feet, puts it up no good. Rebound pulled down by Beckley as Green controls. Hands it to Ronnie Kidd. Ronnie Kidd comes to the front court, goes down the lane. Drops it off underneath to Moore. Tom Moore puts it up and in. 36-31 now. The Tigers out by 5 to St. Clair to the front court with it to DeWitt. To Miller on the high post. To Stephon Murray on the low post. Stephon puts it up and in. 38-31. Tigers enjoying a 7-point advantage with 2 minutes to play in the first half. As Edmonds with the ball to Green on the near side. Back to Edmonds, top of the key to Green on the near side again. The Kidd on the far side, firing from 18 feet off the iron, no good. Rebound, knocked out of bounds by Moore. It'll be Tiger ball. As DeWitt inbounds it to St. Clair. And Jeff moves it to the front court for the Tigers. To the left side to DeWitt. Back outside of Clair, they go to St. Clair. They go to Eads on the right wing. Now to St. Clair. Back to DeWitt as they come around that Beckley zone. DeWitt with the ball, looking underneath. St. Clair to Eads as Eads looks underneath from the right side. St. Clair top of the key, holds it overhead, looks underneath, gives it to DeWitt as DeWitt moves it toward the corner. As they'd like to get Miller open, now St. Clair firing the key, no good. Miller rebounds, puts it up, has it knocked loose. Picked up by Beckley. As the lead pass goes out to Kidd, and they overthrow the little man. And Bob Bullen will get into the ball game for Beckley, and Ronnie Kidd will get a chance to catch his breath. 1:15 to play in the first half, 38-31. Tigers up. As Jeff St. Clair brings it to the front court for Princeton now. Right across the center circle. Comes by the bench, gets some words of instruction from Ralph Ball, and moves it toward the far side to Mike Eads. As Mike Eads out on the wing position, Beckley in a 1-3-1 zone, and the Tigers spreading it out a little bit right now as St. Clair way out front with it, holds it overhead, and Jones and Miller still shoving back on that post position. St. Clair with the ball way out front to DeWitt, and back to St. Clair. To DeWitt, and now they go to Eads on the far side, in the corner, goes too far in, can't get loose with it, has to give it back outside to St. Clair. As St. Clair looking underneath for that shoving match between Jones and Miller. Now they got Miller on the low post. He fires, no good. Rebound. Pulled down by Jones of Beckley. Leaves it for Robert Green with 25 seconds to play in the first half. 38-31. As Jerry Edmonds with the ball for the Flying Eagles. To Bolin and back to Edmonds and to Green. He'll fire from the top of the key. It's no good. Rebound. Fought for, tied up. We'll jump it between Jones and Murray. 15 seconds to play in the first half. 38-31. The Tigers up by 7. Stephon Murray and Steve Jones to jump it in the Beckley free throw circle. As Murray moves in, now Jones comes in. And the official makes a misthrow. And they tell the Tigers somebody to stay on the line. And the tip control by Beckley. We got a foul on Mike Eads. That's number 2 on Mike. And that will put Jerry Edmonds on the free throw line.
The foul called on number 10 of the Tigers, Mike Eads.
As we'll see, because I think it'll be Jerry Edmonds on the free throw line. And it will be. As Bill Harmon gets off the Tiger bench.
Jerry Edmonds.
And moves into the ball game.
Edmonds had 13 points in the first game between Princeton and Beckley, and here tonight this will be his, if he makes his free throw, it'll be his first point of the night.
All right, 14 seconds to play in the first half, 38-31, Tigers up. Jerry Edmonds on the line for Beckley, firing a one-on-one. He fires, it's good. He'll have a second attempt now. As the Tigers lead by 6, and Jerry Edmonds on the line for the Beckley Flying Eagles. He fires, it's good. 38-33. 5-point ball game as Jeff St. Clair moves it to the front court for the Tigers. 9 seconds on the clock. Jeff looks at the clock. 2-1-2 zone by Beckley. To Eads. Eads deep in the corner with it. Comes into the lane. Fires. No good. Rebound. Fought for in the lane. And that shot was partially blocked. And Harmon tied up underneath by one of the Flying Eagles. Tied up, I believe, by Jones. And it'll be Harmon. Check it. It'll be Harmon to jump against Tom Moore. 1 second on the clock. Jump ball in a Tiger free throw circle. As the tip controlled by the Tigers at the buzzer. So at the end of the first half of play, the Princeton Tigers 38. The Beckley Flying Eagles 33 is in the second quarter. Beckley got 16 points, and the Tigers got 16 points as they kept their 5-point advantage. Trying a 38-33 halftime advantage over the Beckley Flying Eagles here tonight. As in the first quarter, the Tigers came out to a 5-point advantage, 22-17. And they were able to hold on to that advantage as they scored 16 points in the second quarter, while Beckley also getting 16, gives us a halftime score of 38-33. Got an announcement here on some Charter Tours Incorporated. A new bus charter service will be starting in Princeton to go to the ball game. And the Boosters Club will have the first trip January the 29th to Brush Fork Armory. So those people who'd like to ride the charter bus over to Brush Fork, it'll be $2 per person. Anyone interested, call 487-3059 or 425-8521. And if you can't remember the number, call Rita Akers. Now, those numbers again, 487-3059, 425-8521. Also, they're going to put together a charter bus to go to Greenbrier East next week. So make your arrangements now to be on the charter bus with the Boosters Club. Here at halftime, the Princeton Tigers 38, the Beckley Flying Eagles 33, and here with individual scoring stats, our old buddy Robert Q. Graham, Esquire.
Okay, for the Beckley Flying Eagles, and the only thing I can say about Beckley is that they've played 8 or 9 people so far in this ball game tonight. Only 2 of the 5 people who started for them in the last game started tonight. Everyone who started for them has played in the game. Edmonds, who started for them last time and did not start tonight, is 2 of 2 at the foul line for a total of 2 points. Jeff Boggs has 3 field goals. He's 3 of 4 from the foul line for a total of 9 points. Green has 2 field goals. He's 0 of 1 at the foul line for 4 points. Goodson did not score. Vernon Knight did not score. Ronnie Kidd had 1 field goal for 2 points. Ronnie Kidd was the fellow who ignited the Beckley team in last year's game. Jones, the player who became eligible with the second semester, has 4 field goals. He's 2 of 4 at the foul line for 10 points, and he leads Beckley in scoring. Other scorers for Beckley are Moore with 1 field goal for 2 points, and Bolin, who has 2 field goals for 4 points. Beckley has 13 buckets, and they're 7 of 11 at the foul line. Princeton, on the other hand, is led by James DeWitt and Jimmy Miller tonight. Miller, who's averaging 22.5 points a game, has 5 field goals. He's 4 of 5 at the foul line for a total of 14 points. Mike Eads has 1 field goal and 2 of 2 at the foul line for 4 points. Mike's averaging just over 14 points a ball game. Jeff St. Clair has 1 field goal. He's 2 of 2 at the foul line for a total of 4 points in the first half. Jeff's averaging 8 1/4 points per game. James DeWitt, who had a real good first half, has 4 field goals. He's 2 of 2 at the foul line for 10 points, and he's developed something that I haven't seen before, and that's that little skip that he has when he comes down the court.
It looks like he's happy anyway, doesn't he?
It looks like it's the kind of game he enjoys. Stephon Murray, who came in the second quarter in relief of Bill Harmon, who has 2 fouls on him, and then Stephon came in and picked up 2 fouls. But one thing that we should clear up is that it's Stephon Murray and not Murray Stephon, as a local newspaper reported. He has 1 field goal. He's 2 of 2 at the foul line for a total of 4 points in the first half. Princeton has 13 buckets, the same number as Beckley, but the big difference is in the foul shooting, where Princeton has hit 12 of 13 as compared to 7 of 11 for Beckley. And do you have the rebounding and the turnovers?
Right. Princeton is shooting a much better percentage so far in the game than Woodrow Wilson. Princeton is 13 for 29 for a 48% mark. Woodrow Wilson is 13 for 34 for only a 38% mark. So Princeton doing much better when they have the ball. Princeton pulling down 20 rebounds as compared to 21 by Woodrow. Princeton turning the ball over 12 times as compared to Woodrow 7 times. Woodrow has turned the ball over 5 times this second half as compared to Princeton turning the ball over only 4 times this half. So Princeton has cut down on those turnovers, seems to be doing a good job on their press, and is shooting a much better percentage than Woodrow Wilson.
The shooting percentage and the turnovers, I guess, well, you got to shoot well if you're going to win. And you can't afford to give the ball away. Of course, the Tigers guilty of 12 turnovers in the first quarter, cut it to 4 in the second. It's a marked improvement, and I'm sure Ralph Ball will be much happy with that. Of course, he still got 16 turnovers in the first half. I'm sure he's unhappy with that, but he's happier with the 4 in the quarter, I'm sure.
Right, I'm sure. You don't like to have those turnovers, but at the same time, if you're forcing the other team to turn the ball over equally as many times, you're moving the ball well, you can live with those turnovers as long as you don't give them away in costly situations, as long as they don't set up dunks such as Stanley Martin's dunk the other night, things that can change your momentum around. Naturally, no coach likes turnovers, but the turnovers that Princeton has had have been mostly working for good shots. No real stupid turnovers, bad passes that have gone out of the gym or anything like that.
And the Tigers, starting with the Oak Hill game some a couple of weeks ago, have put together some good efforts. Now, they played well enough to beat Oak Hill, and I think they can beat Oak Hill. They played a football game against Hinton, putting 105 points on the board. Played well up at Pineville against what a suspect competition. Played exceptionally good ball over Bluefield tonight. A lot of poise in the second half. Looking good here again tonight against Beckley. The young team is starting to grow up.
Sure. I was talking with Bruce Henthorne the other day, the assistant coach and the JV coach, and if you look at that schedule, if you look at the losses that Princeton has had, Princeton could just as easily right now be 7-1 as they are 5-3, very easily. That Huntington team was probably a very dominant team. They've beaten quite a few people. They beat Norfolk decisively last night. And you can't take anything away from Huntington, nor can you take anything away from this Beckley team or Oak Hill. But when looking at the way Princeton was beat both of those times, Oak Hill beat them in the final 2 or 3 minutes. Beckley beat them in the second half. Princeton had a good lead going into the second half, and as a young team, lost that lead. So very easily, Princeton could be a 7-1 team, or on a good night, I feel like they're very capable of beating Huntington. Could be at this point 8-0. It's not that they have thrown games away. It's just that late in the game, many times it was just a matter of the ball not bouncing their way. Okay. Especially that Oak Hill game.
Average points scored. Of course, for a while, the Hinton and the Pineville games offset and sort of made the statistics deceptive. But as Princeton heads into this very tough schedule that they've got coming up, they go to Greenbrier East this Friday night. Of course, Greenbrier East is undefeated. And
well, then we got Norfolk next Tuesday night.
Well, that's right. Norfolk, of course, Norfolk's not undefeated, but Norfolk's always tough. And they're playing over the Brush Fork Army on the 29th. Princeton's averaging 74 points a ball game and giving up 57. Which is not a bad position to be in at this stage in the season. Jimmy Miller is averaging 23 points a ball game. Mike Eads is averaging 14.4 points a ball game. James DeWitt, the sophomore, is averaging 11 points a game. Jeff St. Clair is averaging 8.25 points a game. Bill Harmon, the only senior that sees a great deal of action for Princeton, is averaging 6 points a game. Hansberger's averaging 4 points a game. And Stephon Murray, who's come in the last 2 ball games and done an excellent job for Princeton, is averaging 3.6 points a ball game. So what you have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 juniors and a sophomore providing all but 6 points of Princeton scoring. So I think that speaks well of the season next year.
As we get ready for the second half of play, and one quick question. We've got some youngsters sitting on the bench here in Princeton that would be playing anywhere else. They certainly got a lot of talent and get a chance to develop, such as Schrader and Hansberger and so forth. Sometimes a big job at faces the coaching staff is keeping players happy, isn't it?
Oh, sure. That's probably, if I had to pick something in coaching that I just did not like, it would be the fact that normally you have 12, 14 people on a team, and chances are on any night, only 7 or 8 of those people are going to play at the key times during the game. You're going to have your other people come in late in the game when you're way ahead or way behind, or in special situations when you just need to dip down just a little bit lower on the bench. That's a tough job to do for a coach.
Okay, tip control by Beckley, and they break down Jeff Boggs just a bucket. Tigers come back in the front court with it. We got a whistle and a foul, and that will be called on Bob Bolin, I believe. 35. Yes, it is on Bob Bolin. That's number 1 on Bolin, so it'll be out of bounds to the Tigers. James DeWitt inbounds it to Eads in the corner, fakes a shot. Gives it underneath to DeWitt, gives it outside to Harmon. Harmon goes into the lane. We've got a 3-second violation. 38-35 as Beckley is close within 3 now of the Tigers. 7:29 to play in the third quarter, early in the third quarter here. As the Flying Eagles come to the front court now. Jerry Evans with the ball to Robert Green. Green gives it outside to Boggs, firing out of the lane, no good. Rebound to DeWitt of the Tigers. Clears it out to Eads. As Eads moves it to the front court. Mike on the dribble with it to St. Clair. As Jeff looks underneath, gives it back to Eads. Now they move it to DeWitt in the baseline, drops it to Miller underneath, goes under, lays it up and in. Jim Miller. 40-35 as the Tigers out by 5. As Edmonds brings it to the front court, goes across court with it to Bolin. Bolin gives it back to Edmonds. Edmonds is directing traffic out front. Tigers in a 1-3-1 zone. As Green with the ball, drives the baseline, goes under, drops it off to Boggs, fires. No good. Rebound pulled down by St. Clair off the floor. As St. Clair moves it to the front court, drops it to Eads. Eads will fire from 16 feet off the iron. No good. We got a whistle and a foul. And let's see who it's on. And they call it on Stephon. They call on 34?
No, they called on 43 for Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, on Jeff Boggs, 43.
If he did, that's number 4 on Boggs.
Number 4 on Boggs. That'll hurt them. So the Beckley team wants a timeout. So with the score, Princeton 40, Beckley 35. We got 6:41 to play in the third quarter. Princeton 35, Princeton 40, Beckley 35. The Tigers lead by 5, and we'll have the Tigers with the ball out of bounds under their own bucket.
Number 41, Tom Moore.
As Tom Moore checks in for the Flying Eagles to give Jeff Boggs a breather with those 4 fouls. As DeWitt will inbound it for the Tigers. As he flips it to Miller. Miller in the lane with it. Goes up. He is whistle and traveling call. 40-35 now. Beckley will bring it to the front court. Jerry Edmonds with the ball. Tigers in the 1-3-1 zone. Edmonds holds it out front. Gives it to Green. To Bolin. Bolin looks to the right side. Now they get it into the right side. To Jones. Firing out of the corner. No good. Rebound to Jones into the lane. Miller blocks the shot. Tipped around outside. Picked up by Edmonds of Beckley. Gives it to Green. Goes to the baseline. Gives it back outside to Edmonds. Edmonds looking underneath again. Now to Green. Firing out of the corner. Good. Robert Green gets the Eagles within 3 of the Tigers. As the Eagles half-court press. As Eads with the ball to St. Clair. To Harmon into the front court. Goes to the corner with it. Holds it up. Comes cross court to Eads. He'll fire from 14 feet. Good. 42-37 now. Tigers up. As Edmonds brings it to the front court for Beckley. Gives it to Bolin. Bolin directs some traffic to Jones. Jones deep in the corner with it. Looking underneath. Gives it back outside to Bolin. Now to Edmonds firing from 16 feet. Team foul number 2 on Beckley. Aziz with the ball in the front court for the Tigers now to St. Clair. To Harmon, firing from 18 feet off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Beckley as Green feeds it out to Edmonds. Edmonds into the front court with it. Harmon and St. Clair carry ball. Gives it to Jones. Goes under. Miller fouls him. As Jimmy called for the foul on the shot by Jones, and on Jimmy, that's foul number 2. Team foul number 2 on number 1 on the Tigers in the second half. But that will put Steve Jones on the free throw line for Beckley. As he'll fire 2. And the Tigers want a timeout as they want to converse a little bit to check this thing out. So it's 5:22 left to play in the third quarter. Princeton 42, Beckley 37. 42-37, Tigers up as Aaron Graham over here to the near side of us gives the officiating crew a little bit of the raspberries. Did he take that from his old man?
No. So I don't see how Sherry manages to hang on to him for a whole ball game. She has to be exhausted.
It keeps her busy, doesn't it? Bob, I saw you over the restaurant. I'm not eating at that Bluefield game.
Downhearted.
Standing inside there like he's lost.
You came up through the drive-in window, right?
Yeah.
And got out before I did.
I told that girl to ask you who you were. All right, we'll have Steve Jones on the line for Beckley. He fires. It's no good off the front of the iron. He'll have a second attempt. 42-37. 5-point advantage for Princeton right now. 5:22 left to play in the third quarter. Steve Jones moves back to the line for the Flying Eagles for one shot. He'll put it up the right hand, and it's on the iron and good. He got front iron and flange, and it finally dropped into the net. 42-38 now as Mike Eads brings it to the front court for the Tigers. Outside to St. Clair. 1-3-1 zone thrown up by the Eagles now to Harmon on the baseline. Fires. Good. Bill Harmon from 8 feet out. Puts it in. 44-38. As Beckley comes to the front court with Jones. Drives. Runs over Miller. Foul on Jones. And they say the bucket is good. That's number 3 on Jones. And team foul number 3 on Beckley. 44-40. Tigers up by 4 as Jeff St. Clair will move it to the front court for Princeton. To James DeWitt on the right side. Back to St. Clair to Eads. Eads on the wing left side. Dribbles 3 times, picks it up, gives it to St. Clair. Back to Eads. Eads to DeWitt deep in the corner. Drops it to Miller, trying to get it. It's not loose. Picked up by Beckley by Ronnie Kidd. And as Eads tries to draw the foul, can't get it. As Eads goes down, gives it to Robert Green, and Green is hammered by Jeff St. Clair. That's number 2 on Jeff. And it's really not funny except Mike Eads he's trying to show that Ronnie Kidd run over. Ronnie Kidd could probably back off and take a 10-yard run and hit Eads. Eads probably wouldn't flinch much.
and Kidd avoided him. I don't think there was any contact at all.
I think it was either. He took the floor and rolled over. Good acting job. Didn't get him anything, though. Robert Green on the free throw line for Beckley. Tigers charged with their second foul of the half. As Green will fire with the right hand. It's good. He'll have to take it a step. 44-41 now as the Flying Eagles pull within 3 of the Tigers. As Green will try again. He fires. It's in and good. He rolled it around about 3 times and finally dropped in from the pull of gravity. 44-42. The Tigers with a 2-point advantage as St. Clair to the front court with it to Eads. Eads on the left side. Looking deep. Gives it back to St. Clair. Back to Eads. As they're double teaming Jimmy Miller in there. Now DeWitt firing out of the corner. Good. James DeWitt, 20 feet out. Hammers it in. 46-22. Kidd to Edmonds in the front court with it for Beckley. Tigers in the 1-3-1 zone. To Green. To Edmonds out front. To Jones firing off the baseline far side. It comes down off the front of the rim. Picked up by Miller. Out to Harmon. Bill into the front court with it. Picks it up. Gives it to St. Clair. St. Clair drives the lane. Feeds it out to DeWitt. Fires off the baseline. Good. James DeWitt again. 48-42. As Kidd with the ball for Beckley. Into the lane with it. Holds it up. Looks for help. Gets it from Green. Green goes to the baseline. Fires. Hits the side of the glass. No good. Picked up and fired by Moore. No good. Underneath with it. Knocked out of bounds. Off of Princeton. As Steve Jones got decked.
I believe Bill Harmon came in behind him and just might have fouled him.
Decked him pretty good, didn't he? As Jones fires it way out front to Kidd. Gives it to Jerry Edmonds on the wing right side. To Jones in the corner right side. And now to Edmonds. Edmonds starts it to the lane. To Jones. Jones dribbles it out of traffic. He's asked the official for a double dribbling call. Does not get it. And Edmonds feeds the ball to Kidd. Kidd on the left side with it. Back to Edmonds. He'll fire from the top of the key. Good. Jerry Edmonds. 48-44. Tigers up by 4 now. As St. Clair brings it to the front court for Princeton. Directs traffic. He wants to win on the far side. To Eads. Eads on the wing. Back to St. Clair. Now back to Eads on the left side. As DeWitt into the corner with it. They double team him. He'll fire from 20 feet. Off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Green of Beckley. Changes hands on the dribble. Gets it to the front court. Holds it up. Gives it to Ronnie Kidd. Kidd gets it to Jerry Edmonds and back to Kidd. As Kidd starts it down the right side. Holds it up now. Two more and back outside to Ronnie Kidd. Starts it into the lane. Drops it to Jones. Fires out of the lane off the iron. No good. Jones rebounds. Puts it back good. Steve Jones puts it back in for the Flying Eagles. 48-46. Tigers up by 2. And St. Clair into the front court with it for Princeton. To Mike Eads. As Eads looks underneath to the Witt. Deep in the corner with it. James guarded by Jones. Gives it back outside to Eads. Firing off the front iron. No good. Rebound pulled down by Tom Moore of Beckley. Outlook pass to Jerry Edmonds. Edmonds down into the lane. And trying to get it to Green. Taken away by Mike Eads. As Eads, Johnny on the spot. Brings it back to the front court. Has it off loose by Ronnie Kidd. And now Ronnie Kidd to the front court with it for Beckley. Still on the dribble with it. To Jerry Edmonds. Now back to Kidd. Goes to the lane. Leaves it for Jones. Fires over top of Harmon. Got it. Tie ball game with 2:12 left to play in the third quarter. We got 48-48 ball game. And Jeff St. Clair comes out across center court trying to get it to Miller on the baseline. Jimmy double team. Gives it outside to James DeWitt. Goes to the baseline. Fires. Good. James DeWitt from 18 feet gives the Tigers the lead by 2. As Jerry Edmonds fights his way to the front court with it for Beckley. To the left side to Ronnie Kidd and back to Edmonds. They started down the right side to Jones. Fires over Eads out of the corner. Good. Steve Jones hits it for Beckley. 50-50. A tie ball game with 1:39 to play in the third quarter.
Steve Jones now has 19 points in the ball game. Jimmy Miller has 16.
And we got a foul in the lane. And it's on James DeWitt. And turns the ball over for the Tigers on DeWitt. That will be foul number 3. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers in the second half. And the Flying Eagles could take a lead here. Since, well, I don't think they've been ahead anywhere in the game, have they?
No, they never had lead.
All right. Beckley has the ball right now with the score tied 50-50. As Stephon Murray comes into the ball game for the Tigers, trying to get some action on the boards, I think. As Jerry Edmonds will inbound it for the Flying Eagles. 1:34 to play in the third quarter. And now Ronnie Kidd brings it to the front court for Beckley. 2-3 zone set up by the Tigers now. Robert Green with the ball. Back to Kidd. Top of the key with it. Starts it down the right side. Goes to the lane. Trying to get it inside. Knock loose ball on the floor. Scrapped out by St. Clair. Gets it to James DeWitt. And the Tigers come to the offense. As DeWitt leaves it for Jeff St. Clair. Jeff gives it right back to DeWitt. Goes to the corner with it. Drops it to Miller on the low post. Pulls his way under. We got a whistle and an offensive foul on Jim Miller. That's number 3 on Jim. Number 4 on the Tigers second half. We got 1:08 to play in the third quarter. 50-50 tie ball game. Ronnie Kidd will bring it to the front court for Beckley. Ronnie still on the move with it. To left side to Jerry Edmonds. Back to Kidd. He goes behind the screen from Green. Can't get the shot off. Gives it to Green. As Green now will fire from 18 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound to James DeWitt of the Tigers. As he holds it up, gives it to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff goes down, drives into the lane, lays the ball up and in. Jeff St. Clair penetrating. 52-50. Tigers up now with 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Kidd with the ball. Top of the key with it. Looks underneath. Edmonds on the near side. Goes to the baseline. Gives it back outside to Kidd. Tigers in a 2-3 zone. Kidd firing from 20 feet off the front of the iron. No good. Kidd follows the shot. Puts it up and in. Ronnie Kidd following that shot and put it up and in. A tie ball game again at 52 all. 20 seconds to play in the third quarter. Jeff St. Clair with the ball to Mike Eads. To James DeWitt in the lane. Lays it up. No good. Rebound. Pulled off by Jones of Beckley. Gets it out to Ronnie Kidd. Drives the lane. Feeds it off. Green got it now, picked up by somebody. We got a traveling call on Beckley with 6 seconds left. As the ball lost in traffic, picked up by one of the Flying Eagles, and he was called for traveling. And the Tigers come to the offense. As St. Clair moves it to the front court with 5 seconds on the clock. To Mike Eads, works into the traffic. Drops it to Miller. Starts up with it. He is fouled. And that foul will be on Dennis Goodson with no time showing on the clock. That's number 3 on Goodson. And the Tigers got away with one right there, didn't they?
Are you referring to do you think Jimmy lost the ball or walked? Or?
Well, I thought that he really didn't have control of the ball in there and started up with it, and time was running out. And the only way the Tigers could have scored was with this foul. So, Jimmy fires it good. He'll have a second attempt. 53-51. And Jimmy will have one more attempt. He fires. It's off the front iron, no good. So at the end of 3/4 of play, the Princeton Tigers 53, the Beckley Flying Eagles 52. As the Beckley team got 19 points in that third quarter, while the Tigers only had 15. So a 1-point ball game. And we'll be back with the fourth quarter of play.
So far in the game here tonight, the leading scorer in this ball game is the individual who became eligible second semester for Beckley, and that's Steve Jones with 19 points. Jimmy Miller has 17, and James DeWitt for Princeton has 16. Those are your leading scorers up to this point in this ball game.
All right, Tigers going to play defense, hit some shots. 53-52. Tigers up by 1 as we start the fourth quarter. Jimmy Miller to jump against Steve Jones. Tip control by the Tigers as Mike East pulls it down. Waits for some traffic to clear. And now gets it to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff will start the offense now. As Beckley into a 2-3 zone. St. Clair with it way out front. To Stephon Murray. They go to Miller on the low post. It's knocked loose. Picked up by DeWitt. Heavy traffic. Knocked loose. Picked up by Murray. He shoots. Good. Couldn't find anything to do with it. They put it in the bucket. 55-52. As Ronnie Kidd will work it to the front court for Beckley. To Green. Robert firing from 18 feet. In and out. No good. And Miller rebounds with authority for the Tigers. Wait for traffic to clear. Feeds it to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff moves it to the front court. On the dribble with it. To the right side. To James DeWitt. Trying to get it to Miller. It is tipped loose by Steve Jones of Beckley. Gets it out to Jerry Edmonds. As Edmonds moves it to the front court now. To Goodson. Fires good. And we got a whistle and a foul. That's on Goodson. That bucket will be good, but the personal foul after the shot. And on Goodson, that will be number 4. And is it 1-on-1 yet? How many team fouls Beckley got?
That's their 16th foul.
They should be shooting this one in. And they will. Stephon Murray will shoot the 1-and-1. 55-54. Tigers up by 1 point with 7:12 to play in the ball game. And Ann, you were right. We've got a barn burner going. Murray fires with the right hand. It's on the iron and good. Boy, he has got a... Okay, follow through, whatever you want to call it. Looks like he's...
I love that follow through.
I like getting ready to ride a unicycle, doesn't he? There he goes again. He's got it.
It works, though. It works. You can't argue
He
it.
never but net that down. 57-54. Tigers up as they press and Goodson gets into the front court for Beckley. To Edmonds, the Kid. As Ronnie Kidd now directs traffic for the Flying Eagles. Gets it over to Robert Green to Jones. Firing out from baseline. No good. Rebound comes down to James DeWitt of the Tigers. Gives it to St. Clair, and they clear traffic out at St. Clair. Brings it to the front court. To James DeWitt. To Miller on the low post. Spins. Fires off the glass. No good. Rebound to Murray as he fights his way in. Puts it up. No good. Rebound. Fought for again. Rebound. Brought down by Goodson of Beckley. Gets it out to Ronnie Kidd. Kidd into the front court. Firing from 17 feet. It's good. He is fouled by St. Clair. And on Jeff, that will be foul number 3. And it's team foul number 5, but that will put Ronnie Kidd on the free throw line for Beckley. He'll shoot 1 throw. 6:35 to play. Princeton up 57-56. Ronnie Kidd could try to tie the ball game with this free throw. As Kidd, ready to fire. He puts it up. It's on the iron. No good. Rebound to Stephon Murray as he's in heavy traffic. Fights his way out of it. Gives it to Mike. He's in the corner, and Mike feeds it to St. Clair. Jeff moves it to the front court to DeWitt on the right side. Looks underneath. Gives it outside to St. Clair. To Murray. Drops it to Miller on the low post. They double team him. He fires. It's in and out. No good. Murray trying to rebound. Has a knock loose out of bounds by Beckley. It'll be Tiger ball.
This has to be Stephon Murray's best game of the season, I would think.
He is getting off the ground down there on those rebounds.
That's true, but he did well at Bluefield the other night. Inbound pass comes to Miller. He is fouled by Ronnie Kidd. Ronnie Kidd is 5'5". Fouls Jimmy Miller at 6'7". That's number 2 on Ronnie. But Stephon is coming on the last 3 or 4 games. He's playing with a lot of intensity and going
Looks like a few words are being exchanged out there on the court. I'm not sure.
Yeah, one of the guys said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry."
Oh, I see.
Ronnie Kidd has one of the, how would you describe the look?
Who, me?
It's called the hairy eyeball, I believe.
I believe that would be the right term.
Jimmy Miller on the free throw line for Princeton. And he'll shoot a 1-on-1. 57-56. Tigers up by 1. And Jimmy fires the first one. It's good. He'll have the second attempt. 58-56. 6:15 to play in the ball game. Princeton up by 2 now. Jimmy Miller on the line for the Tigers.
Mike Eads and Ronnie Kidd are still exchanging a few words there. They're smiling as they do it.
Second one good as Miller puts the Tigers up by 3 now. 59-56. Tigers pressing. Edmonds with the ball for Beckley. Gets it to the front court down the left side. to Kidd, top of the key with it. Back to Edmonds, back to Kidd. They go to Green on the far side. As Green starts it toward the corner, gives it back outside to Kidd. Kidd firing on top of the key. Good. He pounds it in from 18 feet away. 59 to 58. A 1-point ball game. As James DeWitt with the ball on the front court with it for the Tigers. To Jeff St. Clair. Ball knocked loose. Picked up by St. Clair. We got a whistle and a foul.
Foul's on Kidd, but it'll be his third.
It's on Kidd, number 13. That's number 3 on Ronnie. And boy, that brings the Beckley coaches off the bench and have it right in front of them. They want to discuss it. So with the score, Princeton 59, Beckley 58. 5:46 to play. 59-58 Tigers up. And we'll have Jeff St. Clair on the free throw line. And what'd you say, Bob? We don't want any similar to last time.
Well, in the last game, Princeton went into the fourth quarter leading 45-42 and lost the game. And we had Princeton ahead by 1 point at the end of the third quarter. And maybe we can tell a little bit about how the Princeton team's matured this season, depending on how they do down the last quarter of this ball.
All right, St. Clair puts that first free throw up, and then it's good. He'll have a second attempt. 60 to 58. Tigers up by 2 now. As Jeff ready to fire. He puts it up. It is on the iron. No good. Rebound comes off to Jones of Beckley. Jones dribbles toward the front court. Gives it to Jerry Edmonds. To Ronnie Kidd. As Kidd directs traffic. Tigers in the 2-3 zone. Spread wide. As Kidd comes around the pick. Goes to the lane. Fires off the iron. No good. Rebound. Put up by Goodson of Beckley. Comes off no good. Tipped up once by Green. Put up. We got a whistle and a foul. And that may be St. Clair or Murray. Who is it? It is on Jeff St. Clair. And that's number 4 on Jeff. With 5:27 to play, and then we'll put Robert Green on the free throw line for Beckley.
On the line, number 31 for the Flying Eagles, Robert Green.
5:27 to play in the ball game. The Tigers up 60 to 58. Beckley with 2 free throws. Robert Green on the line. He puts up with the right hand. It is good. He'll have a second attempt. 60 to 59. 1-point ball game now. As the Tigers realigning a little bit, bringing St. Clair to the near side to back it up. As Green on the line. He fires. It's good. Tie ball game. 60 all. 5:27 to play in the ball game. Princeton with the ball. Mike E. deep into the front row with it on the wing left side. To St. Clair. To DeWitt on the near side. Back to St. Clair. Now to Miller. Way outside on the wing. Right side. Looks underneath. Comes across top of the key. Wants to shoot. Has it knocked loose. Knocked out of bounds. Off the Tigers. It'll be Beckley ball. As he's trying to save that ball, knocked it into one of the cheerleaders. So Beckley comes to the offense now. Jerry Edmonds with the ball, gets it to Ronnie Kidd. To Robert Green on the far side. Goes to the corner with it. Gives it outside to Kidd to Edmonds. Firing from 17 feet, puts up the air ball. Green puts it up, no good. Miller slaps the shot away. All the way outside with it. Picked up by Edmonds with Beckley. As Beckley controls again. Princeton in a 2-3 zone. Green with the ball. Moves it to the corner right side. Outside to Ronnie Kidd. Firing from 20 feet off the iron and got it. Got front iron, skips it up and in. 62-60. The Tigers trailing now by 2. With 4:37 to play in the ball game. As James DeWitt to the front court with it to Princeton, and we got a whistle and a foul on Robert Green. That might have been a nitpicking foul. That's number 1 on Green.
There's no such thing. Not down at this end, anyway.
I mean, James DeWitt was extremely surprised to find a call on that because he was going to maneuver in position, and he didn't feel like he'd been fouled, I don't think.
The old no harm, no foul theory, right?
Oh, yeah. DeWitt fired that first free throw, no good. Rebound pulled out by Beckley. As Ronnie Kidd moves it to the front court now. Beckley leads Princeton by 2. As Kidd top of the key with it to the left side to Edmonds, back to Kidd as Ronnie dribbles around out front. Now they move it to Robert Green on the far side wing position. Back to Kidd, comes across top of the key to the near side to Jerry Edmonds. To Ronnie Kidd, and back to Edmonds. As Edmonds goes to Green on the far side wing position. Back to Kidd. As Kidd and Edmonds pass the ball back and forth out there, waiting for the Tigers to come out as they eat the clock. Now Edmonds firing from out front off the iron, no good, and Miller tries to bring it down. Spreads it out and holds it up, gives it to Jeff St. Clair. And now St. Clair moves it to the front court. Gets the up-court pass to DeWitt. Trying to drop it into Miller. Has it knocked loose. Miller goes to the floor. We got a whistle and a jump ball. And Miller comes up quickly as he and Dennis Goodson ties it up. And the Tigers want a timeout. As Ralph Ball is going to say, how in the world could you call that one? 3:47 to play. Beckley 62, Princeton 60. And there's a technical charge on the Tiger bench. So, they really tagged that one off pretty quick. The official, Bob, you said earlier that one of these officials get rapid here and get very upset. Well,
that's, I believe that's Gary Sawyer in the Lewisburg area.
Oh, okay, I wasn't going to tell who it was.
Well, I think every once in a while we should know who the officials are.
So the Tigers give up the signal. We got timeout on the floor anyway, so while we got timeout on the floor, let's take time then for this. When it comes to
they didn't have the ball.
Feet came in the air.
Yeah, but Beckley did not have that ball.
Okay, we're back in the air. And we're discussing the call down there, and possibly Miller may have been traveling. We got a jump ball on. Ralph Paul said something to the official, and they call a technical, so we'll have Robert Green on the free throw line to shoot the technical. It's going to be a two-shot technical now. This is called against the Tiger bench. And the fans lay it on the officials a little bit. And Green fires. It is good. Boy, he hung it on all kinds of iron and finally dropped it. He'll have a second attempt. 63-60 as the Tigers fall 3 points off the pace now. There's Robert Green ready again. He fires. It's good. 64-60. And Beckley will have the ball out of bounds at midcourt. As we're ready to go back to the ball game now. The Tigers come out with Stephon Murray, Jimmy Miller, James DeWitt, Mike Eads, and Jeff St. Clair. As Jerry Edmonds inbounds it for Beckley, gets it to Ronnie Kidd. Ronnie Kidd in the backcourt. Moves it toward the front court now. To the left side to Edmonds. Back to Kidd as they spread it out. The Tigers in a man-to-man defense with 3:36 to play in the ball game. The Tigers trail by 4 as Kidd moves it to the corner. Outside with it to Robert Green as DeWitt plays the defense on him. We got a whistle and a foul. A blocking foul called on Ronnie Kidd. That's number 4 on Ronnie. An illegal pick set up over there on that, or an illegal, it was a moving screen, I guess, what we had to call it with it. And Ronnie Kidd fighting with the fellow that had the ball. I called him for a moving screen, illegal block. And that'll put Mike Eads on the free throw line for Princeton. He'll shoot a 1-on-1. He fires the first one, it's good. 64-61 now. Tigers down by 3 with 3:28 to play. As Mike Eads will have one more attempt. He fires. It is in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Jones of Beckley. Gets it over to Ronnie Kidd, and Ronnie will move it to the front court. And we've got a foul called as Robert Green set to pick up, and Ronnie Kidd run Mike Eads into it. On Mike, that is his third foul. And that will put Ronnie Kidd on, have to put Robert Green on the free throw line. And Green's probably the best free throw shooter since they had him shooting the technical. 64-61. Tigers trail by 3 now with 3:21 to play in the ball game.
He's 6 of 7 on the night at the foul line.
Has Green on the line to try to extend that streak. As he'll fire a 1-on-1. He puts it up to the right hand. It is in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Stephon Murray. Gets it over to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff to the front court with it. Holds it up to Eads. Eads drives to the baseline. Goes under, forces the shot. Tipped up, no good. We got a whistle and a foul. I think Eads will go to the free throw line. And it's on Goodson, I believe. They should foul him out. If that's who it is. It is. Dennis Goodson. Is that 5 on him, Bob?
Yes, it is.
And checking into the ball game be Jeff Ball for Beckley. 64-61 now. Mike Eads on the line for the Tigers. We got 3:11 to play in the ball game.
Goodson fouls out with 2 points in the ball game.
On the line for the Tigers, number 10, Mike Eads.
As Eads will try to get the Tigers a couple of points on the board here. He fires. It is good. He'll have a second attempt. 64-62. Tigers within 2 now with 3:11 to play in the ball game. Mike Eads. Fire with the right hand. Puts it up. Good. 64-63 as the Tigers press. Ronnie Kidd with the ball for Beckley. Gets it to Jerry Edmonds. Edmonds into the front court with it. To the left side to Jeff Boggs. Outside to Edmonds. Edmonds on the dribble with it. Tigers playing a man-to-man. Goes inside with it to Boggs. Fires. No good. Rebound pulled down by Eads and heavy traffic. Gives it to Murray. Murray gives it back to Eads to St. Clair. And they'll bring it to the front court now. Tigers on the offense with Jeff St. Clair working against the 2-2-1-2 zone by Beckley. Outside to St. Clair to Miller on the right side wing. St. Clair top of the keys to Eads. He'll fire from 20 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound. Front four. Pulled out by Beckley. Coming out with it is Edmonds. Edmonds into the front court. Holds it up. Gives it to Robert Green. Green on the move with it. They double team him out front. He gets to Edmonds. Edmonds searching underneath. They go to Ronnie Kidd on the back door, puts it up and in. Ronnie Kidd got open on the back door and got the bucket. 66-63. Tigers down by 3 with 2:14 to play. James DeWitt with the ball for the Tigers. Has it knocked loose, picks it up. DeWitt gives it back to St. Clair. To Murray. Murray on the right side to Eads. Eads takes a shot, goes under, lays it up and in, good, and he is fouled. Is that on Edmonds? I believe it is on Edmonds. No, they called on Jeff Boggs. 43. And it's 5 on Boggs by our record.
And it is 5.
And they're whistling Boggs out of the ball. Or we're going to check that number to make sure, I guess. And it is 5. So Boggs will report out. 66-65. And Mike Eads on the free throw line for one throw. And the Tigers want a timeout. So with 2 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the ball game, Princeton 65, Beckley 66. We'll be back right after this.
We're back now with Jeff Boggs just fouled out of the ball game with 4 field goals. He was 3 of 4 from the foul line for 11 points. He is the second Beckley player to foul out, with Goodson fouling out just before him with a total of 2 points.
And Ann bet us $5 for all the cheeseburgers we could eat. The Ronnie Kidd wouldn't make it to the game then.
Right. He's got 4 fouls, and he has not let up 1 iota since the game started.
If you're going to bet all the cheeseburgers, I wish I'd brought Craig up.
A minute ago, he fouled Jimmy Miller's knees. Did you notice that right down underneath here? He honestly did. He came into him. He was down that defensive stance, moving on that slide, and his shoulder hit Jimmy Miller's knee.
Did you call that for undercutting at the 2-shot foul, is it?
No, I think Jimmy jumped and he missed it. There was no foul call.
Oh, okay. But Ronnie Kidd is he's a very active little fellow, about 5'5". They may be stretching it a little bit. I'm not sure he's 5'5".
I don't think he's 5'5".
So we'll have Mike Eads on the free throw line for the Princeton Tigers. He gets tied up with 2 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the ball game. 65-66. Tigers trail by 1. Mike Eads ready. And now they come out to match it up. James DeWitt with the ball. Moves it down the right side. And they just came out in the front. They did not come out all the way. As Miller with the ball on the baseline, fires. Puts it in. Good. Jimmy Miller puts the Tigers up 68-66. Ronnie Kidd to the front court with it for Beckley. To Robert Green on the wing. Right side, we got a whistle and a foul underneath.
It's on Stephon Murray, and it's his third, I believe.
And it is on Stephon. Blocking. And it's number 3 on Stephon. 68-66, and that will put Steve Jones on the free throw line for Beckley. Minute 25 to play in the ball game. Preston 68, Beckley 66. As Steve Jones goes to the free throw line, he'll fire 1-on-1. He puts it up. It's no good. Rebound. Baltimore comes onto the floor, picked up by Robert Green. He is fouled by Jimmy Miller, but why not a 3-second violation? And the foul call on Miller, and on Jim, that is number 4.
Paul Jones is the leading scorer. He has 19 points. He has only hit, he's hit 3 of 6 foul shots, so he is not one of the better foul shooters so far in this game.
Now we put
knock on some wood.
Now we put Robert Green on the free throw line. He's pretty good free throw.
Well, he missed his last one. Knock on some more wood.
As Green ready to fire. He got a 2-shot foul, they say. He fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. 68-67. Tigers up by 1 now. A minute 23 left to play in the ball game. That's Green ready to fire. He'll put it up with the right hand. He fires. It is good. High ball game. 68 all. A minute 23 to play. And Jeff St. Clair works it toward the front court for Princeton. Holds it out front. He's standing right in the center circle, dribbling, wanting Beckley to come out and play man-to-man defense. Stephon Murray jumping in and out of the linebacker, playing games with Beckley. St. Clair out front with it. Goes to Eads. Eads on the far side. Gives it back to St. Clair. Top of the key. Outside to Eads. He's outside with it. Back to St. Clair out the center circle now. 55 seconds on the clock. Tie ball game. 68 all. As DeWitt with the ball, gives it outside to St. Clair again. To Eads on the far side. Eads holds it. Waits for Edmonds to come out and play defense. Gives it to St. Clair. Gives it to DeWitt. DeWitt outside to St. Clair again. 37 seconds. The Tigers playing for 1 shot, so if they miss it, they'll go overtime. That's the strategy. As DeWitt with the ball. Gives it to St. Clair out front. To Eads on the far side. Eads comes cross court with it to DeWitt. Gives it outside to St. Clair, and now to Eads. Eads to St. Clair. To DeWitt. 19 seconds on the clock. DeWitt with the ball. 16 seconds on the clock. To DeWitt and to St. Clair, we got a timeout with 13 seconds. So with 13 seconds left to play, Princeton 68, Beckley 68. Rather than pause it for a commercial, let's turn this thing to Ann Better and get some strategy on this.
I would say, I would bet you double or nothing on that $5 that I just lost, because I would say that Ron Kidd will make it to the end of the game, that Jimmy Miller will take the last shot of the game.
Would you? They'll be collapsing on Miller, and DeWitt hits very well going to that baseline and pulling up. Would he make it and go with DeWitt by any chance?
I think they'll go with Jimmy on the inside.
Well, if they can get the ball to Jimmy, he'll either get the shot or a foul.
Right. Right.
So, and you want double or nothing, huh?
Double or nothing. Of course, if it goes into overtime, I still may win that first bet, but I say this last shot will be taken by Jimmy Miller.
Well, now she wants double or nothing, still wants a chance to win the first bet, Bob. I'm not sure what kind of bookie she is. Jimmy the Greek can learn something here.
Yeah, what would be odd if Kidd is the person who commits a foul here and fouls out.
And on Miller taking the shot, huh?
Well, I want to go when you buy those cheeseburgers from that happens.
Well, we'll see what we can do with it here now. 13 seconds to play in the ball game.
But the one thing that we want to make sure of is that Princeton wins this ball game. I don't care who fouls, just so Princeton
Don't care who fouls or who shoots.
That's right. Just so they get to 1 point and the time runs out.
Okay, Princeton ready to go. Tie ball game. 68 all. DeWitt will inbound it to Jeff St. Clair. 12 seconds. 11 seconds on the clock. And St. Clair comes to the point position. Now he's on the right side. Looks underneath. They go to DeWitt. Goes into the lane. Lays it up. Good! With 3 seconds on the clock, and Beckley wants the timeout. And DeWitt puts the shot up and puts the Tigers on top, 70-68. Beckley calls the timeout. There should be 2 seconds on the clock, I think. We'll reset the clock. With 1 second left, Beckley wants to talk it over now.
No, James DeWitt can't believe he made that shot. His eyes are about as big as basketballs down there.
He shot it off balance going down the lane, but they were looking for DeWitt all the way. They had Miller set up to draw the double team, and DeWitt breaking into the lane. The Tigers on top now, 70-68, with 2 seconds left to play.
Take the ball off the radio and Jimmy Miller take the shot.
1 second to play in the ball game. Princeton 70, Beckley 68. Beckley got a timeout. They'll have the ball when we come back. Now they'll have it in the backcourt. Really, I think there should be, and you correct me, there shouldn't be about 2 seconds left on the clock, really. They had the ball.
I believe there should be 3 on there, but they're not going to give him anything back. It took that fella that long.
They are giving it back to him.
Are they giving it back?
I was thinking 2 seconds.
Well, it would either have been 2 or 3.
And we'll see what they give them. Now they're going to run it down. And now they're going to have to let it run down. Now they got it set in a minute. As Ralph Ball and Gary Nichols, the Beckley coach, talking with Bo Bowman, the timekeeper.
Jimmy Miller has 20 points so far in this ball game, and James DeWitt has 18 points in the ball game for Princeton.
But those 18 big ones, aren't they?
Yes, they were.
A lot of pressure as DeWitt going down the lane. He was actually on his left foot, put the ball up just to keep from traveling.
Right, I was afraid they were going to call traveling on him.
And he just put it up to
He did not travel, but the angle that he went up on and the way he took off, I was afraid that official was going to call traveling.
So he put the ball on the glass and hung on the flange. Now, normally when it comes off the glass on the flange, it'll never go in the bucket. It did, and then dropped into the basket.
I believe what Preston wants to do now is to definitely avoid the foul and to play defense to make Beckley take this shot as far away as possible.
I think you're right. Now they've got the clock down to 2 seconds. Now that's where they're going to set it, 2 seconds. Okay, that's right. Because that's when the Beckley player called the timeout. I looked at the clock and I had 2 seconds.
Right, the ball went through the hoop on 3, and it took that. And of course, it may be a little more than 2 seconds. With that 2 showing up there, you can't really tell whether it's 2.5 seconds.
We got a lot of people standing up now as the Tigers still in the huddle. As the Tigers come out with Mike Eads, Stephon Murray, Jeff St. Clair, James DeWitt, and Jimmy Miller. As Murray will put pressure on Edmonds, who will throw the ball in for Beckley. He gets it into Kidd in the back court. He throws it into the front court, throws it out of bounds. That's the ball game. As they should have never brought the ball in the back court, they did. They got beat. As the final score, the Princeton Tigers 70, the Beckley Flying Eagles 68. As in that fourth quarter, the Beckley Flying Eagles got 16 points. And the Princeton Tigers got 17 points. Now the Tigers will be in action again next Tuesday over to Wrightsburg Armory where they take on the North Fork Blue Demons. The final score, the Princeton Tigers 78. The Beckley Flying Eagles 68. In a game that went right down to the wire, the Tigers pulling it out on the last second heroics of James DeWitt as he going down the lane got the bucket. And the Tigers take their record out now to 6-3 on the season as they avenged an earlier defeat from the same Flying Eagles. And that's 2 big wins this week, one over Bluefield, one over Beckley. As the Tigers victorious 70-68, running their record to 6-3 on the season. And all right, as we're back at the Tiger Fieldhouse, Tiger Gym for the Tigers on top, 70-68 to pick up the big win over Beckley. And the Tigers 70, the Beckley Flying Eagles.
Princeton Bank and Trust Company,
and the Tigers
member
that season up to
FDIC.
6-3, and as Ann Meadows said, they can easily right now be 9-1 on the, or 8-1 on the year. As they lost to Beckley earlier this year, 55-51, and then lost to Oak Hill 59-56 in games they had opportunities to win, just couldn't hang it. The Tigers putting together 4 quarters tonight of 22 points in the first quarter, 16 in the second, 15 in the third, 17 in the fourth, for a total on the night of 70 points. And in Beckley, putting together 17 points in the first quarter, 16 in the second, 19 in the third, 16 in the fourth, for a total of 68 on the night. Final score, Princeton 70, Beckley 68.
And down the court after that bad dance.
All right, there's the Tigers victorious here, 70-68. And you ready on team stats?
Yeah, sure am.
Okay.
Glenn, second half tonight, Princeton shot 20 times, making 11 of those shots for a 55% tally. Woodrow Wilson shot the ball 20 times, making 13 of those shots for a 65% tally. That's a very good half of shooting, but not quite good enough. Second half, Princeton pulled down the ball 12 times. In the rebound column, Woodrow Wilson pulling down 18 rebounds. Princeton turned the ball over 6 times. Quite an improvement over that first half as compared to Woodrow turning the ball over 5 times. In the game, Princeton put up 49 shots as compared to 54 put up by Woodrow Wilson. Princeton made 24 of those 49 shots as compared to Woodrow making 26 of 54. For both teams shooting right on 49% for the game. As might be noted, Woodrow did score more field goals than Princeton, 26 scored by Woodrow Wilson as compared to 24 by Princeton. Woodrow Wilson also out-rebounded Princeton, 39 as compared to 32 rebounds pulled down by the Tigers. The Tigers turned the ball over 18 times tonight as compared to Woodrow Wilson turning the ball over 12 times. So in the stats, everywhere but on the scoreboard and in the free throw column, Woodrow Wilson outplayed the Tigers. But when it really counted, when it came down to the wire, Princeton outscored them. The scoreboard is what really counts. The scoreboard is what goes down in the record book. Princeton winning 70-68.
Tigers showed a lot of poise under fire, didn't they?
Oh, they sure did. You could call them firemen tonight. They were the best when the pressure got on, when the thing got hot. And coming down that last stretch, they did to Woodrow Wilson what Woodrow did to them the last time. Pulled it out into that 4 corners, pulled it out, made Woodrow come out, take the initiative on defense. Princeton knew what they wanted to do. They knew who they wanted to go with. I concede to James DeWitt there on that last shot. Excellent play. Had everybody in the place fooled, including myself. All but you, Glenn.
Oh, yeah. But it's been a big week for Princeton basketball.
Oh, sure has. Things have really turned around for them, as we said. Princeton could just as easily be 6-1 right now, 7-1. Also, they could just as easily, considering the teams that they have played, have lost 4 or 5 games.
Hey, Chucky, tell Ralph come up here.
So they have done a tremendous job going down this stretch. Princeton could have played good games and have lost to the teams that they have played during this week. Bluefield, Woodrow Wilson, as we said last week, this week was going to really tell the story for the Tigers because 2 big wins this week, going into North Fork, going to play North Fork at Brush Fork Tuesday night. North Fork coming off of a loss last night from Huntington. You can never underestimate a North Fork team, but at the same time, they're human beings. They have emotions. They get up, they get down after losses, and hopefully the Tigers will catch them at a good time. And the Tigers being up the way they should be after 2 big wins this week should be a tremendous game out of Brush Fork Tuesday night.
Okay, Brock, what do you got on some individual stats?
For the Beckley Flying Eagles, the leading scorer was Steve Jones with 8 field goals and 3 of 7 at the foul line for a total of 19 points. Edmonds had 2 of 2 at the foul line, 1 bucket for 4 points. Jeff Boggs, who fouled out, had 4 buckets, 3 of 4 at the foul line, and a total of 11 points. Green had 3 3 field goals, and he was 8 of 10 at the foul line. It was Green who canned the 2 technical foul shots in the fourth quarter. He had 14 points on the night. Goodson, who fouled out in the ball game, had 1 field goal for 2 points. Vernon Knight did not score tonight. He was the starter the last time they played, but did not score tonight. Ronnie Kidd had 6 field goals for 12 points, and he had 4 fouls. He did not foul out in the game. Other scores for the Beckley Flying Eagles were Moore with 1 field goal for 2 points, and Boland with 2 field goals for 4 points, giving him a total of 68 points on 26 field goals and 16 of 24 at the foul line. For Princeton, Jimmy Miller was the leading scorer in the ball game. However, he was still off his scoring average by about 2 points. He had 7 field goals. He was 7 of 8 from the foul line for 21 points. Mike Eads had 3 field goals. He was 6 of 7 from the foul line for 12 points, and Mike was about 2 points off of his average tonight. Jeff St. Clair had 2 field goals. He was 3 of 4 at the foul line for 7 points, and he was right on his average for the season. Bill Harmon had 2 field goals for 4 points. James DeWitt, who made the winning field goal with 2 seconds left in the ball game, had 8 field goals on the night. He was 2 of 2 at the foul line and 18 points. Stephon Murray came into the game, had 2 field goals and a perfect 5 of 5 from the foul line for a total of 9 points. On the night, Princeton had 24 field goals. They were 22 of 27, which is extremely good foul shooting for a total of 70 points. And Glenn, I think you have someone over there with you.
You're right, Bob. I've got Coach Ralph Ball of the Tigers sitting alongside, and we want to talk about Ralph. We want to borrow that scorebook a little bit if we can. But Ralph, big victory, big week for the Tigers basketball.
Yes, 2 big pressure games, and the boys came through real well.
The Tigers tonight beat a Beckley team that we had lost to earlier, but now this Beckley team is much improved over the Beckley team that was down here in the holiday tournament, so I think the Tigers showed just an awful lot of progress over the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah, I think both teams are better teams at this point. We definitely are better, and this Jones boy has made them given more outside shooting, so they both, I think, played better ball, and I think both of us will improve as the season goes on. Beckley's always tough, and I think everybody from Princeton is much aware of that.
The thing it keeps noticing, and I guess it's something that we just live with, is that every place we go to play basketball, we run into teams that want to play physical. A very physical game over Bluefield Wednesday night, a very physical game here tonight, and the Tigers really having to scratch and trying to stay out of foul trouble to play, but it seems as though the Tigers just keep running into physical teams that want to put hands on them.
Yeah, I think it's apparent all year. We've had trouble. I know Jimmy inside there. They bump around on him and push a little bit and shove on him, and I can't understand why it's never called, because it isn't. And there's not big fouls, but just kind of offsetting fouls that makes you off balance, so you can't move and can't catch the ball and what have you. And we just don't have that type of ball team, and consequently it does hurt us a little bit.
But now, Ralph, I guess the thing that you really got to feel good about now is that coming into the fourth quarter of play, the Tigers had a 1-point lead over Beckley, gave up that lead, and now your youngsters fought their way back. I think they were down by 3 points at one time, fought their way back to get it into a tie with some 40 seconds left, came down, set up, held the ball to the last shot, moved down and took the last shot with some 3 seconds on the clock and made the shot. That's a lot of pressure to put on juniors.
Well, that's right, and of course you've got to be able to handle it, and that makes you a good ball team. We're going to have that off and on every game. There's not many easy games, if any, left. I don't know. We come up with next week got Norfolk and Greenbrier East, and you can't even look a week ahead where they might even be easy. So it's going to be very difficult, and every game is going to be tough. It's going to be very physical, and hopefully we can get some calls going our way in these little more physical type ball games.
But now tonight, from the Tigers, you got a good balance of scoring. I think that we had Miller and DeWitt and Eads all in double figures, but then also we had Murray coming in with 9 points and many big rebounds.
Yeah, Stephon is playing better ball. He's jumping real well and giving us a lot of help on the board and plays good defense. And like I say, if he can give you 8-10 points, he'll have a good night there.
The Tigers now have got to go across county on Tuesday and going against Norfolk. And I guess even though people say that Norfolk is not as tough this year as they usually are, you can bet your bottom dollar that Norfolk would rather beat Princeton right now as anybody on their schedule because of that AAA championship last year.
Oh, and they're a very physical ball team. They're probably as physical as any team will play all year. They're very strong, and they jump well, and that's officiating that plays a big part in controlling how the game goes, the atmosphere of the game goes, and
and hopefully we can play a good basketball game without getting physical. I hope.
At one time tonight, the Tigers had kind of lost their edge of intensity, I guess, and the ball game was not going real good for the Tigers. And there was a mix-up down on the basket, and you called a timeout. And I don't want to give away any trade secrets, but you went out on the floor and immediately picked up a technical foul, and the Tigers came out later and played a little more aggressive basketball, more intensive. Sometimes you pull something like that, I guess, to get your kids fired up, or it just happens that way?
Well, no, I didn't want any tea at that time because they got to shoot two, and they made both of them, and that was a big factor in the ball game. But sometimes it does help your kids get up and maybe play a little tougher basketball thereafter. And maybe there's some good result on it, but I didn't intentionally get one. I just went out to talk to the referees. The Beckley coach had done it previous to that, and he said I wasn't supposed to be out there, and I couldn't understand why I'm not out there when he let the other guy get out there.
Well, you had a timeout. I thought you could walk out there if you wanted to.
Well, that's what I thought.
But anyway, the Tigers playing very well. And, Ralph, looking at the season record now, 6-3 on the season. All right, we've got a loss to Beckley here earlier in the holiday tournament by 4 points that we had an opportunity, had a chance to win, just couldn't put it together. And then also at Huntington, we lost down to Huntington on a very physical ball game. The Tigers made it just a hair flat. But then to Oak Hill here at home, where the Tigers really started putting it together and playing well. And Ann was mentioning earlier tonight that the Tigers right now could easily be 8-1 on the season.
Yeah, probably the only game we didn't play well in, it was the Huntington game. We could have won the other two. There's no doubt about that, just as easily. But I think when you look back over any year, those 1 or 2 point, 3 or 4 point ball games, how they go determines whether you win 17 or 14 or 12. It makes a big difference there. And hopefully we can win something like we won this 2-pointer and we won over Bluefield. So maybe it's offsetting each other so far. If we just keep winning these 1 or 2 points, it will make your record much better. The big thing is, besides all your record and what have you, is hopefully that you can improve whether you win or lose, and try to each week and each game is try to play better and be a better basketball team, because you got 2 seasons and the big one's at the end of the year, and you've got to get ready for it. So you must improve.
Is that 22 out of 29?
22 out of 27.
16 out of 27. Ralph, on those free throws now, you asked me about tonight. The Tigers hitting on 22 out of 27, which is a pretty good percentage, while Beckley getting 16 out of 24. So the free throw percentage, hitting them under pressure, really made a difference in the Tigers. 22 out of 27, that's what, about 80%?
Yeah, that was tremendous free throws shooting in there. Our boys missed the back end of a 1-and-1, and that helped us to get the shot, but we missed a couple, 2 or 3 of those. Otherwise, we'd been tremendous foul shooters. Of course, that is tremendous.
Yeah, anytime you're at that kind of percentage rate, you don't want to do anything to change a whole lot.
One of your close ones for you, right.
And, of course, the Tigers now go right over to North Fork, and then next Friday night over to Greenbrier East. Have you got any dates scheduled yet for the snow out game at Mount View?
Yeah, the night after we play Pineville. What is that, the 23rd?
That'll be February the 20th on a Wednesday night.
We play the 20th, the night after Pineville, right.
Okay, so we'll put that on the schedule. And, of course, the Tigers are in a real tough stretch right now. Starting with the Bluefield game, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 games with teams that are ranked in the top 20 in the state of West Virginia.
That's right. It's no let up at all. We're just going to have to get with it.
Ralph always thought that a coach always tried to schedule a tough game and then get a junior high team they could beat. How come you got 9 tough ones in a row?
No, we got plenty of tough ones. These teams are much tougher this year than they have been in the past. East is much better than they've been. Oak Hill is much better than they've been. And Bluefield is much better than they've been. So, and Parkersburg, we know very little about them, but they're the biggest school in the state. They've got to be tough.
So the Tigers victorious here, 17-68, putting that season record at 6-3, and the Tigers playing very well, Ralph. We congratulate you on a fine victory.
Well, like I say, the boys came through under pressure, which was a strong point.
Okay, Coach Ralph Ball of the Princeton Tigers, thanks for visiting with us, and we'll see you next Tuesday night over at the Brush Fork Armory. And that just about wraps us up. And, Bob, anything to add?
I have just one thing that I'd like to say, and that's that they have a player in the state that they vote on each week for the player of the week, and Jimmy Miller has scored 46 points in 2 ball games and against 2 large AAA schools, Bluefield and Beckley. And I would have to think Jimmy Miller would have to be a candidate for that honor this week.
I think I agree with you.
I would make that unanimous.
Okay, we got one thing settled tonight. We agreed on it.
That has to be a first for the season.
But Ann, you have to learn that you never agree with Glenn because he's so conservative.
Right.
That it's very difficult.
I do not think that Jimmy Miller should be the one. I think that James DeWitt. How's that? No, seriously. I think
I got a secret I'll tell you.
seriously, I think Jimmy Miller is
As soon as we
I
get off
think
the air,
it'll be a robbery.
I'll tell you, but I hate to really tell you until later.
Okay.
But anyway, the ball game brought to you tonight on Big Way Radio, on the AM band by Princeton Bank and Trust Company, Mercer General Insurance, and A-Mart. On the FM band by Pepsi-Cola, Bluestone Paving, Legacy Department Store, Missioner Chevrolet, Olds, AMC Jeep. I'm Glenn May, speaking on behalf of Ann Meadows and Bob Graham, saying we appreciate the fact that you've allowed us to be a part of your evening. The fact of the matter is, we say thanks so much for listening. Good night, all.